Question 40. 41% of our students got this one correct on the mock exam. Which statement about the quadratic equation below is true? Here's our quadratic equation. So quadratic, again, means that we have an x squared in the equation. So if this were a quadratic function, it would look like a parabola. So the answer choices, when I'm scanning them quickly, it's all talking about solutions. So solutions means a value that I can substitute in for x that would make the statement true. So here's the first answer choice. The equation has x equals 4 as its only solution. So it's saying that if I take 4 and I plug it in, it's going to get a true statement. Now, the first thing I'm thinking about right now is that this is a quadratic equation, and I know that a quadratic equation usually has two solutions, so I don't think it's going to be f, but I'm going to check it out just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up, -4 fifth, 4.5, and then instead of x, I'm going to plug in x equals 4 plus 72 equals 0. I'm going to solve this out in my calculator, and as I'm solving it out, I get -4.5 times 16, order of operations, 4 squared equals 0, -4.5 times 16, -4.5 times 16, -72. And then when I add this together, -72 plus 72 gives me 0, so 0 equals 0. So the question I'm going to ask is that true? And the answer is yes. 0 does equal 0. That's a true statement. That means that x does equal 4. But again, I'm thinking in my head, a quadratic equation usually has two answers. So that's one of my answers, but it doesn't mean that it's the only answer. So let's check the other answer choices. G, the equation has no real solutions. It's saying there's no answer for x. That's not true, because I already know that x can be at least 4. H, x equals 4 and x equals -4 as its only solution. So this answer choice says that x is 4 and -4. So I've already tried x equal to 4. I did that over here. So now I'm going to try what happens when x equals -4. I'm going to plug in a -4 in for the value of x. I'm going to see if I get a true statement. So let's try this again. Now I plug in a -4. Same thing, order of operations, -4.5. I'm going to first do -4 times -4. A -4 times a -4 gives me a +16. -4.5 times 16, I did that earlier. I got -72. So -72 plus 72 equals 0, and 0 equals 0. So the question is that true? And the answer is yes, that's also true. So not only can x be 4, but when I plugged in x equal to -4, I also got a true statement, which means x is both +4 and -4. So it looks like H is right, but let's check J. The equation has an infinite number of solutions. So this is saying that any number, I can plug in any number I want in for x, and I will always get a true statement. That doesn't even sound right, but let's just try it. I'm going to choose an easy number to plug in for x. I'm going to plug in a 0 for x. So let's say I plug in a 0 for x. If this works, then maybe J is the answer, if I can plug in any number I want and get the right answer. So I plug it in, 0 squared, I get 0. So now I have -4.5 times 0 plus 72 equals 0. Then I do -4.5 times 0. I get 0 plus 72 equals 0. I get 72 equals 0. Question is that true? Does 72 equal 0? False. Because it's false, x can't be 0. So the only things that I got to work were 4 and -4. So H is the answer.